everybody, welcome back to the BCC Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. Next week I have a new steak program rolling out for you folks here at the club. So what I wanted to take the time to do today is to show you exactly what we do when our steak comes in. Because a lot of restaurants nowadays, what they do is they buy pre-cut, pre-cryovac steaks where they're coming to the chefs from a company, already cryovac individually. They just simply rip open a plastic package and put the steak on the grill. Here we do not do that. We are buying Dakota beef. It is their reserve program, so it is a high quality beef, and it's all coming from one ranch in Minnesota. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what we do here in the kitchen when our beef comes in. And let's see, we're going to start with this box here. What we have here is the tenderloin. Okay, so this is where all our fillets, this is how our fillet comes to us. Now, as you can see, this is not what goes out on your plate. So, it comes to me like this. We simply begin to break this meat down, okay? Because you guys would not want to eat it the way it is right now. All this is called silver skin. What that is the muscle tissues. Okay, so this is the chain right here on the fillet. We remove this chain. Now, there's a lot of meat in this chain. However, it all has to be broke down further before it's edible for you guys. So we remove the chain from the tenderloin. Then we have to get this silver skin off. You notice it will come off with my fingers. As I get through the layers, when I get back here, I do have to take a knife to it. You notice we still got a good portion of silver skin here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a knife, go right under it, go this direction, then get that flap. Now, that's the part you don't want to eat. You're going to do that again. Now, some people might say, well, why are you doing it that way? Why not use a knife and go like this? Well, because everything costs money. The more of that red meat that I have left on that piece of silver skin, the more it's costing me. Right there, that's all just waste. Now, you come over here. So, you want to come here and take this fat off. You don't want to take too much off, but you want to get the bigger portions off. Now, that's pure waste there. This piece here, we'll put with that. Alright, so now it's starting to look a little more like what you guys are used to seeing. So you get a scale here. Now, you notice it gets fat here, tapers here. So when we first start cutting a fillet, you got to take that into consideration. Okay? So now, that fillet is going to weigh 7.3 ounces. We serve a 7-ounce fillet here typically. Then I come to this one, 7.1 ounces. This one's heavy. That's an 8.1. So what I'll do here is I'll come right here with my knife, and I'll trim a little off. This will go there. That's now 7.2 ounces. 7.1. 7.1. Back here, when it comes towards what they call the head of the fillet, I'm going to take this off. This is called a Manhattan cut. Continue to cut my fillets. 7. Now when I get down to a piece like this, I like to throw it on the scale. That's weighing 9.2. And now it's weighing 7. Same with this Manhattan cut here. I like to throw that on the scale. It's 9.9. So what I'm going to do to make it into a fillet, take this end off, take this end off, and there, that's 7.8. So out of one tenderloin, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 steaks that I would serve to you guys. Now, all this, that's all pretty much clean. This has not been cleaned yet, but if you notice there's a nice vein of meat that runs down this chain, and I can remove that by going through and removing the silver skin and fat. And when I do that, I'm going to take this meat, which is still just as good as those, and I'm going to cube it up, put it with this, and that's where your fillet tips come from that you see us serve here from time to time. So that's the tenderloin. Moving on to the next one. We're going to go into a ribeye. This is how ribeyes come to us. Now for any of you ribeye lovers out there, this is what we get in for our prime rib. Okay? So when it comes into me, it's in pretty good shape. So if I was using this for prime rib, it'd be pretty good. Now, you notice you've got some extra thick fat here, and you notice how it kind of fans down here. Well, this whole end is going to be fat. It's not really going to be the meat that you guys want. So, kind of tapers off as it comes up towards the head. So I'm going to remove that. See, there's not a lot of meat in there. So that's going to go to waste. So now, we're going to take our knife, clean this up a little bit. Come down this end. So, that's a beautiful looking piece of prime rib. You can tell it's prime rib because right here, this is where all the rib bones were attached to this. That's what these little flaps are. That's where the rib bones were removed. Now what you have to remember about prime rib. Prime rib is the basic part of the rib cage. So up on the top or the head end of the steak is up closer to the shoulder. As it goes further down the back, it becomes more of the sirloin side. So, sometimes you go and you get prime rib, and it's got that nice eye of fat in the center. That's more to the chuck side. If you don't like that fat eye in the center, you want to order your ribeye or your prime rib more from the sirloin side, because that's going to be more like a New York strip steak than this side. So, what we would do then is we'd simply slice this down into slices for your ribeye steak. I'm not going to do that with this piece right now, but again, if you like that eye of fat, ask for the chuck side. If you like it more like without that big eye of fat in your ribeye, order from the sirloin side, and which we will be offering. Okay, so that's your ribeye. Our last thing is our New York strip steaks, which is just a continuation going further down the back of the steer from where the ribeyes come from, more to that sirloin side. New York strips in. Now if you notice, this side, you don't see a lot in there except nice red meat. now when I cut that, that's a well marbled, gorgeous looking steak. And the marbling is this white that's running through. It's the texture of fat that's running through. You want that because it's going to break down as the steak cooks, and it's going to give that steak extra flavor. Now, on a New York strip, as you come down from this end down to the smaller end, which is going further back on the steer, you get what's called the nerve end, which is this portion here. We do not serve this portion here, and I'll show you why. Notice here, this portion here, you got steak here, you got this eye right there, and you see this? That is actually cartilage that is inside the steak. It makes it extremely tough. So, we do not serve nerve ends here. So every steak, every strip that comes in, we will remove that nerve end. See, there's a prime example. You can see the nerve, you can see that right there. And on the other side, it's not there anymore because I've cut past it. So this much steak right here, off of New York strip, isn't going to be served to you as a New York strip or anything else. It might come as beef tips because we'll cut those nerves out. So that leaves you this piece of meat for us to cut steaks out of. Now, for example, this steak is a good 2 fingers wide for me. I throw that on the scale. That's going to give you 1 pound, 0.3 ounces. So you're roughly looking at a 16-ounce New York strip steak there. And we would continue to cut that down. So, the reason why I'm showing you folks all this is because, as I said, most restaurants nowadays, they get this single cryovac in a plastic wrapper, and then it sits in their walk-in cooler for God knows how long before they use it. Okay? Here, we're cutting these fresh almost every single day. They're coming into us, and we are cutting them on demand as needed for the dining room. And starting next week, we're going to start a new steak program here, as I was telling you. There is going to be a display case out in the dining room. Folks are going to get to come up and say, you want to cut there? You want to cut here? Okay. I will stand and cut it wherever you point to. And that's going to be your steak. And then, of course, we will charge by the ounce rather than a flat price. All right? So, that way, if you only want a little steak, you can get a little steak. If you want a big, thick steak, you can get a big, thick steak. We'll cook it any way you want it. All right? But again, this is what I wanted to show you this week. I hope it gives you some insight to what we do. And again, I can't wait for you guys to come out, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, and have a great day.